James Alexander Chase, Sergeant, 23rd Colored. It's known by Jim. Jim was born on a tobacco plantation in Maryland. He escaped from that plantation where he was born enslaved. And found himself in the Union Army. I don't know all the details of those kind of early years of Jim's life. In fact, I don't know much about what happened before he ended up in the Army, apart from, that bit about being from Maryland and having been born on a tobacco plantation. But his unit, 23rd Regiment, was in some pretty horrific combat. If you're a Civil War buff, you might be familiar with Battle of the Crater. Basic idea is that Pennsylvania Regiment put a whole bunch of explosives under a Confederate position. They were miners from Pennsylvania, they were. And what they wanted to do was basically blow a big hole with dynamite, kind of mining tactics, under the Confederate lines in order to sneak through the wall. I don't have the details exactly right. I'm not an expert on this, but you get the idea of where this is going, essentially, is they blow a great big hole in this thing. A crater, such that it is. Much bigger and of a weirder shape than anybody expected. And instead of kind of marching the troops around the edge of the crater, as you might expect, some of the Union regiments went right through the bottom of the middle of the crater and had basically Confederates all over the rim of the crater shooting. It was really, really bad. And, well, 23rd Colored were one of them. They were engaged in some other actions. You can, spend a little bit of time on Wikipedia or something like that if you want to dig deep. But suffice it to say, Jim was in the real deal. Jim was a combat soldier of the U.S. Civil War. Jim was present when Lee surrendered to Grant at Appomattox. In any case, he was a sergeant. By the time he left the service, I suppose, he decided to move north. He found himself in New York City, where he was married. The woman he married was also formerly enslaved. They spent some amount of time there before settling here in Rhode Island. In fact, here in North Kingstown, Rhode Island, where Jim remains. Jim was a merchant. He made his living, from what I understand, producing, drying, packaging, and selling yeast, as in the kind of stuff that bakers use to make bread, or brewers use to make beer, I suppose, or whatever else one does with yeast. I don't know much about the yeast business, but Jim did, and it was enough to have a good life. Jim had a house here in North Kingstown, here in Wickford, Wickford Village, down by the harbor. It's known as Big Yellow, I think, in the local parlance. It's over there. It's one of those historic houses. Him and his wife, golly, I'm blanking on her name, I'm sorry, but, well, she's buried over there. Had some children, were part of this community, had a life, had a business, had a family, lived the American dream. This man came from slavery, literal slavery. Became an entrepreneur. I'm going to stop my video here. It's getting a little long, but we're starting to see some more visibility in the name. I'm going to keep digging in and talk to you in a bit.